Now, if you listen to the great and the good at the recent COP26 summit, you'd think that the world was about to stop using crude oil altogether. And as with so much that we heard during that Glasgow gabfest, beyond the posturing and virtue signalling, real life is actually rather more complex. During lockdown and its aftermath, the world economy was on go slow, of course, using less crude oil to fuel cars, lorries, ships, planes and power stations. But earlier this month, global oil use quietly returned to pre-pandemic levels. That is 100 million barrels each and every day. That's one followed by 8 zeros. Now, a barrel of oil is around 158 litres or 280 pints. So according to my back-of-the-envelope calculation, if you put 100 million barrels of oil into pint glasses and stack them, the glasses tower will be more than 11 times the distance to the moon. That's how much crude we use every single day. And there's no sign of oil demand falling or even ceasing to grow anytime soon. At the start of 2020, oil prices fell from around $60 to $20 on average a barrel. With airlines everywhere grounded and much industrial production shuttered, demand for the black stuff was extremely slow. But as the economy has reopened, oil prices have surged back above $80 a barrel, a 7-year high. That's a big reason the cost of living has been spiralling, with petrol and diesel now costing upwards of £1.50 a litre. In the United States, the price of petrol or gasoline is of huge political significance. As Americans took to the road for Thanksgiving last week, the price of filling up was higher than recent years, and Republican activists, keen to undermine Democrat President Joe Biden ahead of midterm elections next November, have been keen to pin blame for rising energy prices on the White House. They've been placing stickers on fuel pumps across America, with a grinning Joe Biden saying, "I did that," pointing to the fuel price. Republicans accuse Biden of mismanaging the economy while allowing the US central bank to keep printing money, which they blame for soaring oil prices. It was against this backdrop that Biden last week announced one of the biggest ever releases from the US Strategic Petroleum Reserve, with America attempting to lower oil prices by putting more crude onto global markets. The US has coordinated that move with other oil importers, including China, Japan, and the United Kingdom, to release oil in storage in a bid to bring prices down. But the trouble is that the Organisation of Petroleum Exporting Countries doesn't want the US calling the shots. The OPEC exporters cartel, dominated by Saudi Arabia, remains hugely powerful. Its 10 members control almost 40% of global oil production and 80% of oil reserves. Add in Russia, which collaborates with OPEC members, and this OPEC Plus grouping controls half of global oil production and almost 90% of reserves. So OPEC is still very seriously powerful. It won't be dictated to by the US, China or anyone else. Biden's attempt to flood oil markets is naive and ill-judged, it seems to me. The 50 million barrels of strategic reserves to be released over several months amounts to just half the oil the world uses in a single day. During that COP26 jolly, Western leaders signed us all up to costly decarbonisation targets involving fewer fossil fuels. But at the same time, they were begging OPEC to pump more oil and Vladimir Putin's Russia to send more gas. And now, while fears of Omicron are pushing oil prices down, fears of a broader shortage, fears fuelled by Joe Biden's rash move, are pushing the cost of oil back up. Crude prices surged around 5% this morning, amid concerns that when OPEC meets later this week, they could take countermeasures to keep prices rising by refusing to increase production. So that's our on-the-money question today. To kick off the week, has Joe Biden provoked OPEC to keep oil prices high?